Well, a lot of cloud motion out there, that's for sure. And strong differential motion. Some of it, the lower layer is going right to left, heading from north to south, and the other is up in the tropical air, flowing from south to north. But yeah, there's been quite a lot of dynamic weather taking place this evening, and that's being caused by this front, very energetic cold front, which has passed through much of Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, and now moving into the Mississippi River Valley right there. And dew points have recovered out ahead of this frontal system. We've got dew points in 62 at Jackson, up to, we've got 63 at Mobile and 65 around Pensacola there. However, I believe moisture depth is kind of an issue with the storm. Otherwise, we would certainly be seeing a little more severe weather potential. A lot of cold air back behind this system. You can see the temperatures there in Kansas in the teens and 20s. And pretty good wind chill with gusts up to 23. And as you go north into the Dakotas, we've got below zero readings. So the zero line runs from about Pierre through area just north of Minneapolis up to Duluth. And we've got more cold air once again up in Canada. In fact, when you go up into Saskatchewan and Alberta there, we're seeing temperatures, a lot of minus 20s on here. And even up in the Northwest Territories, we've got minus 38 here. That's going to be about 100 miles northwest of Yellowknife. And I believe that is the coldest temperature that I see on there. Oh yeah, minus 40, so a little bit colder there. So yeah, that's the temperature where you take a pitcher of water outside and you can make it freeze instantly. Now another way to visualize this is to look at temperature anomaly. And there's what it looks like for this evening. So climatologically, the coldest temperatures, the strongest departure from normal is over Montana and up to Alberta there. And out ahead of it, definitely some warm air in the Great Lakes region. And then out west, looks like a pretty quiet weather pattern. Temperatures are kind of mild and doesn't look like anything offshore at this time. All right. Here's a look at the satellite imagery, and you can see all that snow covering Canada there, helping to generate this polar air. And we see a lot of transverse banding out in these regions right here, indicating strong zonal component to the wind flow. And here's that system that's in the plains, and it does look kind of dry. Don't see a whole lot of dry or a whole lot of high overcast associated with this system. In fact, you can see pretty much underneath throughout the entire system there. All right, let's put it together and look at the thermal analysis. So this is going to be our isobars and thickness. Got a little disturbance there off of the Bahamas, and then our system out there in the Midwest. It's running something just like that right there. Cold front all the way down to northwest Mexico. And then we got another system up here in the Great Lakes. So that's going to be about the approximate lineup. And this is all driven by a 1038 millibar high. And that's extending up as a ridge up into the Northwest Territories there. So it's a fairly simple system, and I guess the tail end is somewhere out here in Washington. And again, to figure out that area, we can just look at that temperature anomaly chart. It's very helpful. And here it is. So this can give us an idea where that front is. So I might be looking in this region here. So banked up against the Rockies, and then maybe coming across the Washington and British Columbia area. Definitely a gradient between there and there. So we know that we're going to find the front somewhere in this region here. Okay, another tool we can use to find that front is the mesoscale plots from the NAM model. And these are at College DuPage. It's a great site to look at. A lot of neat stuff on there. So this is what the fronts looked like earlier this afternoon. Looks like the tail end of the front in Montana was somewhere right around there. And then another section, maybe through about Omak and around to Vancouver there. So let's see if we can find a gradient. Maybe a little bit of a push of cold air, somewhat like that. So that's probably where I would place that front. And very little southward progress. In fact, just south of there, we've got some fairly deep southwesterly winds across Oregon. All right, let's take a look at the southwest deserts. This is going to be in the tropical air. So afternoon temperatures this evening, looking at 60s there in the Mojave Desert, 58 for Vegas and 67 for Phoenix. And looks like more mild weather, but perhaps a little bit of plateau high building in over the high deserts. Okay, elsewhere, yeah, the Great Plains. Let's check that out, starting with Texas. And this is where you can see the cold air come through Oklahoma earlier today, sweeping across Texas, and that's about where we are right now. So the front catching up to the central Mississippi River Valley, and the tail end pushing off the Texas coast. 30-knot sustained winds out in that region. And you can see the cold air coming in over the next couple days, a little bit of warming, and then nighttime cooling. And let's see what the coldest night's going to be. Looks like that's going to be tonight. 26 in the DFW area there, and 20 in Oklahoma City. So not particularly severe, just a pretty good cold snap here. And here's the system through the Midwest. This is about dawn right here. System coming through Ohio and Kentucky, and some very cold air coming in behind. So we can see temperatures there hovering around 10 degrees at Chicago and just below freezing at Minneapolis. Then we'll check out the southeastern U.S. there. Here comes that cold air. And looks like a little bit of a preliminary surge here. That could be the dry line air, post-dry line it could be, or possibly the Pacific sector kind of sweeping ahead, or it could be outflow. But I think because of the very strong directional change there, I think that's probably some of the Pacific air, maybe a little bit of that Arctic air kind of mixed in there, but comes across Florida by Thursday evening, and then all the way to Miami around Friday night there. And we can see those temperatures down there in Miami going down to 64, and then up to 73 on the day during the day on Saturday. And then for the Northeast, yeah, that cold air will be reaching there too. There it comes across the Northeast states, reaching central New York later on Friday, and then spreading across New England by Saturday there. So once again, yeah, highs about 5 degrees above zero in upstate New York, so maybe about 5 degrees warmer than what we had several days ago. Okay, time to put it on the satellite imagery. Going through 50 tabs here. And there we go. So that's a look at what's out there right now. Showing that pretty well-developed system there in the Texas-Arkansas area. All right, let me take a look at the chat. We've got Sue M. mentioning the big winter event tomorrow there, ice and snow in Indiana. Wild Gaming watching GR level radar scope in Pickle 3. Can't wait for the snow in Tennessee. David Holcomb says thanks for the reply. Not a problem there. Wild Gaming asking about GR level 3. I don't understand that question too well. You're welcome to email me. Yeah, activate 2 dot propose. I'm not following. Excuse me. Fun with Tech joining us. The S. Kinney getting light precept there. Jason Boggs providing a little help. Ryan Toomey's joining us there, mentioning the flight delays racking up, causing major travel issues. Screens at the office are showing red zone delays and FAA-controlled flight patterns. Warming trend in South Florida. Thanks, Ryan. And Jeff Krob is here. Adam Davis now getting ice and snow there. Carl Burkhoff and Electric Dog. We've got Burl H there. Mr. Manlet, temperatures in northern Illinois, 55, then drop sharply. David Moore reporting on the winds howling out of the north in the Metroplex this evening. Adam Davis working on an edit of a Kansas chase. Some people seeing buffering. Looks like Jeff Krob. That could be because I'm running GR level 2 here. So we'll just take a quick look at this and then I'll clear that off. But this is showing this area of multi-cells, kind of an MCS, moving west to east there in southern Louisiana. And let's see, what do we have? Anything severe? Nope. No warnings. Looks to be on the weak side. But we can take a look at the velocity. And we're pretty far from the radar, so this is not going to pick up ground velocity very well. Sometimes very close to the radar, when the line is further back, I will look at base velocity to look at wind damage risk. But out in here, the cursor is up at about 10,000 feet. And a quick look at echo tops. Looking at about 26,000. So this is just garden variety thunderstorms there. Okay, Fun with Tech mentioning AWIPs. And just going very quickly through the messages here. Little discussion there about buffering. Yeah, that must have been GR level 2 pulling in those files. Okay, and Fun with Tech mentioning the network. Yeah, I appreciate that. We could always use the Patreon donations. Those will go to good cause. Let me just put up that card. I haven't done that in quite a while. There you go. If you want to donate, every little bit helps, and it's going to be about time for me to put up a list of names, maybe in the next week, and give thanks to the donors there. Okay, time to look at the water vapor imagery. Looks like the Pacific is starting to get active once again. Pretty good plume there over the big island of Hawaii. And it looks like this is heading towards California, Baja California, and the Gulf of California in that area. Looks like one little plume there, and then we're going to have this one coming in probably in a few days. And here's another disturbance. That'll be the first one that we'll see there. So let's go ahead and put that all together and look at the GFS. And before we get too far into this, I'm going to show you one interesting feature. We can look at how the model, the GFS, has been verifying. This is from WPC at NOAA. This is model verification. And you can see at the bottom here, we're looking at a run from, let's see here. Yeah, there it is. January 7th at 06C. So we're looking at current conditions and looking at how the model has verified so far. And the red is going to be the run, and the blue is what we actually have. So we can look at this and see what kind of errors the GFS has had. This is 500 millibars up at 18,000 feet. So we can see that, yeah, it did get that wave, but there was a little bit of a timing and phase error there. So this is showing that a wave had been forecasted coming on shore, but is actually a little bit slow. It's just now approaching the coast. Same thing, the model has been a little bit fast with the features over the central U.S. It had predicted a wave right about there. Actual location about maybe 300 miles back. So this is kind of a good tool we can use to kind of see how the model's been performing. Looks like 108, 120 hours out, the details have been pretty much on target as far as the large-scale picture. And as we get closer to the current hour, you can see how the model and reality converge. This is the run from last night. So we go back to yesterday, you can see the diverging starting to happen there. There's the run from the 8th, and then the 7th there. And then we can look ahead in time. This is kind of the same thing here. Except what we're doing is we're advancing forward in time, and we're watching the models diverge. The GFS run from last night, from this morning, and from today. So let's take this out as far as we can go and look at the furthest chart. This is going to be the 96 and 108 hour chart. So it looks like there's a lot of uncertainty out in the Pacific here, but the large scale picture is probably correct. Good agreement on this ridge, the long wave ridge. The long wave trough, it's pretty much an agreement on that. It's really the short and medium scale details that are a little bit problematic, but much better agreement over the central U.S. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the forecast field. So we're looking at 30,000 feet here. So there goes our two troughs, big long wave across the central U.S. And moving forward, a big ridge building across Alaska. Normally this will displace a lot of cold air and send that southward. So we're going to keep an eye on that for the 16th and 17th. Then we got a little bit of an omega block here. You can see that pattern there. System very active out in the central Pacific. And that moves on shore around the 17th and 18th there. So things will be getting active out on the west coast. Also, the northeast looks active. And that'll spread into the central U.S. around the 20th and 21st. Big wave coming into the southern plains there. And it looks like with northwesterly flow up in Canada and strong southern stream right there, we'll have to kind of keep an eye out for the possibility of winter weather in the central U.S. towards the 250 to 350 hour point, because that pattern is what tends to favor winter weather. All right, so let's look at the surface chart. There goes our system there in the Midwest. Ice and snow forecast from Paducah up to Indianapolis. That's going to be an overnight system, and then the main low-pressure area will be passing through northern Alabama overnight into Tennessee, and then crossing the Appalachians during the day tomorrow. Mixed precip spreading into Ohio and Detroit and lower Ontario there. And then it will be heading up into Pennsylvania and New York for early Saturday. So it looks like upstate New York and northern New England getting some of that mixed precip. And as you can see, it should be liquid along the coast there. So that'll be out of the picture by later on Saturday. 1045 millibар high building in, so kind of a cold weekend. This is interesting, kind of a very sharp trough right there. All right, so let's see. Pretty quiet on Sunday. Another Alberta Clipper coming south, a reinforcing shot. 1050 millibar high. That spreads into the Midwest again. Monday and Tuesday. And bringing a little bit of winter weather for the San Antonio area for Tuesday. We'll see how that pans out. Very cold, looks like a polar vortex out over the Great Lakes. No change up until Saturday the 20th. And this looks like a pretty active system in the southern Rockies. And this should have a dry line also with that. So this is a new Pacific system coming together over the weekend, Saturday the 20th. And there it goes, coming out into Texas. Looks a little bit dry. Definitely lots of cold air there, and looks like we finally pull up enough moisture in the Mississippi River Valley on Sunday the 21st to get some storms going. And then high pressure, big polar high, continued cold weather, and then things go downhill again in California. So another system crossing the Rockies right there. And this one goes a little bit further north. But the tail end is going to be in place right there. So this is an area where we'd have to watch. You can see that baroclinicity there with all the thickness lines. That's what I was watching right there. And then we get development of precip, upslope flow, and isentropic lift over the central plains there. So yeah, this will definitely be something to watch here around the 27th. And then we get to the end of the run there. So that's about all I got. Okay, well, anyway, I have some dinner that's getting cold here, so I'm going to go ahead and get to that. And Jeff Krob says, too bad you can't compare GFS with ECMWF. Yeah, I wish we could get more of that European data. That would be very helpful. Lexi says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you. And Carl Berghoff mentioning the jet streak. And Jeff Krob says, that's probably the P&A breaking down with more flow off the Pacific versus Canada. Okay, thanks. That's about all I got for tonight. I appreciate you watching, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.